Hello, boys and girls, children of all ages, and good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Who's to Blame, the podcast, episode 538. And I'm your host, Dre Montez. I hope everyone is doing well, whether you're home, at work, or maybe you're just out and about on this beautiful day here in St. Louis. It was a little windy yesterday. It was a natural hair alert, and that wind was going all over the place for sure. If it's your first time tuning in, thank you so much. You can follow the show. Don't know how you're watching it today. If you're watching on Facebook, hello. If you're watching the show on X, hello X. And if you're watching on YouTube, hey, hello YouTube. What's going on, good people, by the people, of the people, and for the people. But you can always visit the website at www.dremontez.com. Had high fives in the building. Chest bump. Let's hug this thing out 2 times. We're winding down. We made it past Turkey Day. I'm proud of you guys. We survived the injuries from playing full contact Thanksgiving Day football. Those of you know who you are. If you are celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. If you're celebrating an anniversary, happy anniversary to you. If you got a raise at work, you deserved it. If you got a promotion, but the money hasn't kicked in, but you got a promotion, hey, just be patient. It's going to come and it's going to happen for you for sure. Let's get our pillars of the day out the way. We're going to let it go. Ignore them. Give it time. Don't compete. Stay calm. It's on you, and laugh. I told this joke. Was not a joke. I heard it on one of these TikTok videos from the young lady that's always posting about the NFL. She changes various jerseys. She's a Green Bay Packer fan. I cannot think of her name. But she said she wanted to give a shout out to the Dallas Cowboys for going all the way back to find a cheerleader from their last Super Bowl appearance to perform the halftime show. And think about who was performing at the halftime show. Yep, you guessed it. Dolly Parton was wearing a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader outfit. I thought that was pretty funny. That's what a dad joke, but you had to be there to get it. To be there to get it. But it is the show. It is that time. And shout out to all the podcasters that they're doing their thing. I see the work that's being put in on X. That's why I see a majority of the podcasters post marketing, influencers, advice, airing it out, putting it all out there on the table for everybody to do. Judge it, take it, whatever you got to do with it. But shout out to all the podcasters out there. Those of you know who you are. I've already had my rant and rave over whatever happened to your sports team this college football season. Who's to blame? I, state your name. I'm a Florida football Gator fan, and it's not looking good, particularly the way our fans are behaving on social media. But that's what happens when you lose in college football. We forget who we are. Instead of treating this thing like a team situation, we go into individual arguing and bickering, figuring out what the problem is. We haven't even really paid attention to the team. But neither here nor there. Rivalry in sports has changed. And what I mean by that, rivalries used to mean something. The hatred, the way the hate was done, the way the game was played, the outcome, the way the fans treated each other. I'm not talking about burning anybody's house down, say anything bad about their family. We're talking about in-game moments during when the rivalry was big in sports. And I've noticed over probably the past 10 years, certain rivalries are not there anymore. Now, everybody has their favorite rivalry. There's no wrong or right when you're having those discussions or debates on name your top 5 rivalries in sports. Okay. Everyone has their one. Everyone has their, it's not give me what I used to, I mean, the typical one is Yankees and Red Sox. Okay, we get that. But in your local sports market, you probably have your own. One in particular here in this area, it used to be the Cardinals and the Cubs. And it's not that way anymore. And what I mean by that, I've seen more crossbreeding in that sports rivalry demographics than life itself. I know more Cardinals and Cub fans that have a child together, have gotten married. That's not a rivalry anymore. It's gone. But back in the day, it was fun. I guess I'm at that age now where I got to say, well, back in the day, we didn't do things that way. Who's to blame? Can we get back the rivalry in sports? Can we get it back? Where it used to be, the UNC Duke situation. Oh, man. If you have not been to that game, or if you are in the Carolina area, or you're a Carolina Duke fan, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. It's not the same. It doesn't even feel, it feels forced now. A lot of these rivalries that used to mean a lot back in the day, to me today, they seem forced on us, the fans, the fandoms, the media, are pushing this thing where it's not there yet. I mean, think about the rivalries that we grew up on. And when we became a grown person, what I mean, paying your own damn bills, you got your own damn family. How did that rivalry stand when you became a grown person based upon when you were a child? Just think about those days you sat on the floor. You know, you couldn't sit in a recliner as a kid. Grown folks said that, boy, get on the floor. And you're watching football with your grandpa, the old man. And you can feel the rivalry through them, watching it, listening to them, the walking away when the TV goes to commercial break, doing the comments, doing the commentating themselves. That was a horrible damn play. Come on, team. Come on, defense. When you're doing your own pep rally at home. Not tailgating, but pep rally. And as the years went by, innovation kicked in. The way talent is being evaluated and judged, the way today's athlete is built, and the way the games are promoted and marketed. It's changed the whole premise and the whole concept of the rivalry in sports. I don't want to ever go back to the days of yesteryear, but I wish today's athlete, today's fandom, understands when the fans that appreciated the rivalries back in the day, we don't have that same sensation anymore. It just seems like a regular matchup to us because the kids don't know the history. They don't care about that. They don't care what happened in the parking lot back in 1973 that perpetuated this argument. No, they don't want to do that. All they want to do is get on the TikTok or the book face or go on ill-supervised dates. That's what I'm saying. But rivalries in sports have changed. Who's to blame? We made it past Turkey Day, and I gave everybody a deadline to get their Christmas wish list in. The deadline was 6 p.m. Friday. If you did not get yours in to the appropriate people in your family or workplace, that's on you. Who's to blame? I started falling in love with this show when it first came out. It gave us a different way to look at the game. It may have not always been our team, but there's always been a player on there that we followed. And we got to listen intensely, paying attention to what goes on this whole session of what they call NFL training camp. Talking about Hard Knocks. And right now they got the end season going this year with the Miami Dolphins. And we're only 2 episodes in. But this year is the first time I thought to look at something else. You ever been looking at something, but you're looking behind it? Like when I watch a movie I've seen all the time, I look at the people in the background. Like if you watch CSI, any of them, look at the women in the background. That ain't normal. Especially one CSI Miami. That ain't normal. CSI Vegas, that is not. For background, that's some talent. That's some talent there. But if you watch Hard Knocks, whether you like the team or not, you're going to find something in that Hard Knocks episode or season that you can relate to. You understand the verbiage in it. You understand the whole communication aspect of it. You understand what everybody's talking about when they say that. And they said something in this last episode. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but a young man said, I've always wanted to play with him. Watching him from afar, I knew my talents and skill set would match with his as well, and we could be a dominating force on the defense. Now, it doesn't have to be football. Whatever it may be, Have you ever saw something in someone and you said, hey, it'd be a pleasure to work with you, and you finally do, and you're making things happen in a way you didn't see coming. You didn't see it coming at all, but you knew what you could bring to the table. And now you have matched and combined talents with somebody else that has made that whole push even stronger. I love the way they put that. I love the way they phrased it. And I understood how impactful it was in that particular scene in Hard Knocks. And when we as fans hear of a player getting injured, whether you like the player or not, whether the player's on your team, it's going to affect the push on what your team is trying to do. I don't care what sport it is. If you lose a key player, they may be a bum to us, but you watch and see what happens to your team when that particular player goes down. Now you're not thinking the same, because when you lose a player, the whole dynamics change because there's a new ingredient coming in. It ain't like cooking food, just substitute any damn thing in there and it still tastes the same. No, it don't work that way in all sports. We wish it did. But the injury that happens in this to the Dolphin player on Black Friday, all this man did was make a move. He made a football move and tore his ACL. In that scene from the game, we caught a glimpse of it in the game. You know, they take it away when it's real traumatic on television now, for all intents and purposes. But at the same time, this young man, who I did not know, called it quits in college at UCLA because the injuries he sustained was so detrimental to him of always trying to come back from an injury. You know, it messes with your self-esteem. It messes with your enthusiasm and love for the game because you're always in that why factor. Why is this happening to me? And you lose hope. But he didn't. He bounced back, got healthy, and boom, another setback for him. Parents at the game, whole nine. You've worked this hard to get there. And that happens. But a lot of these guys that sustain these injuries, no matter what it is, they figure out a way to have a greater passion for the game and appreciation during that sit down time and rehabilitation time. And at the same time, he also made a point where it's important to understand the process that you're about to go through as an injured player. But that Hard Knocks, I fell in love with it probably the year before the Ravens won it, I do believe, on that team, that Super Bowl run team they had with Shannon Sharpe and Ray Lewis, what they did to the New York Football Giants. In each year, I don't care about the team anymore. I like the message and what they're showing us on how teams can get better, be better, and understand the blueprint of the game. Whether you know football or you think you know football or you played football, seeing that unfold, hearing the language, understanding the game where it's at now, and then watching that game, and you're saying to yourself, okay. But at the same sense, do you wonder, we already know that the players don't like the cameras being on them in Hard Knocks. They don't like all that being exposed. We get it. We understand it. That's why certain teams that's why a lot of teams turn it down. They don't want to be a part of it. They don't want people to be that personal with them. Because as we know, us fans can go too far when we think we know every damn thing about a particular player or team. But if they could take this a step further, stretch it out a little bit more, if we can have an in-depth look at a Major League Baseball team the same way. You know, don't call it Hard Knocks, call it foul ball or home run. Let's get creative with it. They can do it with baseball. NASCAR has something like that. And I think they did it with soccer. I think it's been done before with soccer, but it turns into more of a when they move or they get a new player situation. I've seen it more done in soccer that way. But if they could do it in baseball, us baseball folks, we love that. I love when they break baseball down to its purest form. Get Ken Burns on. I'm not leaving the house. Not leaving the house. Give me Field of Dreams, a documentary. I'm not leaving the house. When they break it down to its purest form, they know what they're doing. If you haven't checked out this season or any other season of Hard Knocks, there's some learning in there. There's some questions you're going to have when you're watching it. If you watch Hard Knocks and then you watch the actual game, not just the team that's in the Hard Knocks, but just the football game itself, and you're kind of new to the football situation, you really get a kick out of it because it makes you feel like you're involved in the episode as well as the game. At least to me. You know, I'm one of 8 trillion people that probably feel that way. Oh my goodness. But who's to blame when that happens right there for sure? So we've already discussed rivalries in sports have changed. And we just got done discussing the show Hard Knocks. There's other things in there you can see and understand and go further with it in your own personal life or your own sports story. You definitely can, for sure. All right, we're going to get this last topic out of here. And this one here could ruffle some feathers because I'm tired of the shit. Who's to blame? It has been a growing problem for quite some time. But when you're young, you don't pay attention to this. You know, as much information they give us today, we had nowhere near this information in the 70s and 80s. You had to dig deep to find out things now, the way they do today. You got to dig deep, but now it's just right there for us. And we're going to talk about dealing with sex in sports and entertainment. And the reason I want to talk about this, Oklahoma City Thunder and Chicago Blackhawks got some crazy accusations out there. If the situation with the Thunder, I gotta talk to the counselor about this. Let's say she is underage. He's 21, 22. When did they meet? She's apparently in high school. What is the age of statutory rape in the state or city where she lives at? And if they met at a club, and you had to be 21 old to get in there, and I'm being dragged under the bus if I'm an NBA basketball player, isn't the club responsible? Who's to blame? For her being in there with illegal ID, probably. But that's sex in sports and entertainment. On the other side, there's a rumor going around that the number 1 hockey player drafted by the Blackhawks, his teammate, allegedly slept with his mama. We've been down this before in the NBA. I take it if you're a professional athlete and you're between ages of 17 and 21, somebody gonna step to your mama or daddy problem. Real talk. If your parents are not together, you're a single parent, and you have a child that's about to become a professional athlete, and they're between ages of 17 and 21, they coming. As much as we watch all these sports drafts, there are people out there that watch the draft for sexual purposes only. The come-up plot or the plot. It's out there. We've seen countless documentaries, news segments. Robert, look at me. We've seen all this on the sex and entertainment and sex in sports. Allegations, misconduct, conduct detrimental to the team. No one wants to be followed. No one wants you to know where they're going. But every time that happens, it seems like we're doing real good. And then out of nowhere, here come 10 stories in a row dealing with the same issue we deal with each and every time. Having everything taken away from you, everyone knowing all your business, can't get any employment no more in the sports world. Because that's the next move, because I think right now the sports and entertainment world's to the point right here. We've done all we can. We've given you guys men and women classes. There are options here, different resources, different tools, different things you can do. Now, if you're a grown person and you're using a professional escort, that's fine. That's fine with me. If 2 grown people are consensual, do your thing. My thing is when it's affecting the policies and procedures of the team, what's going on at the time of play with the team, because all that's on everybody's mind. On what the hell just happened with our teammate. Some people say, hey, I can play through that. Some people saying, some people they can't. I would love to talk to the 1986 Mets. The allegations with that team, they were fucking in the dugout doing games. Hello, America. Who's to blame? We have lost a grip on certain situations. Once we see the dollar signs, we turn the other way. Once we see the body of the ass, we turn the right way. They got to do the thing right here some kind of way, and who's to blame for that? I'm not saying naughty shouldn't do. You young and rich and got some bank, of course you're going to get horny. Of course, sex is a part of life. But it has to be at some point in the professional world out here in sports and entertainment. When does common fucking sense come in? When? It seems like every year we're having a discussion about a player or entertainer dealing with a sexual misconduct situation. Why is that? We're not asking the athlete to be perfect. Hell, nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. That's not what we're saying. Keep doing what you're doing, but damn. Come on now. 21, 22. You really had to go high school, allegedly. Come on now. That's your teammate's mom. Allegedly. You know, I mean, somebody's daughter, somebody's son out there. Look what happened at Louisville College when they took the national championship away. It's been happening. We know what goes on in college. Whether Michigan State wants to admit it or not, we know what happened. We know what's going on. But when it gets to the point of common sense, where is that at? Where's that common denominator at? As a parent, as a child, male or female, and you're around an environment like that, what are you doing to ensure that everything is done with permission? There is no judgment, your age, your religion, your sex, none of that. Two grown people. Now, when it gets to two grown people and it gets turned into something else that nobody needs to know about, that's y'all business. I'm talking about them folks out there that have the lifestyle. You know, swingers lifestyle. That's nobody's business if you're in a professional world. Nobody's business. But we know that goes on. We've heard reports. We've heard allegations. Well, we don't know 1 and 1 is 2 anymore, according to Terrence Howard. So I don't want to use that anymore. I don't want to use that no more. We know that's a stop sign. How about that? But what can be done? What more can we do? Or what more can be done to ensure that everything is done on the up and up? Because right now, I am confused on how much can you tell a person for them to understand to finally get it. These people are not playing, son. They will take everything from you and more. You have to be more careful. Having a team and a squad does not mean these my boys go out and kick it. We're going to do this. You got my girls going to do this. We saw what happened with that with Ja Morant. You got to have the right people around you. No coattail riders. Okay? None of that. People that understand your job, your future, protecting you the right way. Not cock blocking you, but protecting you. Those are two different things. Two different fucking scenarios. But what can be done? I'm Dre Montez, and who's to blame? We're going to try to figure it out one way or another, as they always say. But can we figure this thing out? More importantly, the rivalry in sports. I don't want to change anymore. I don't. Hard Knocks, let's spread it out to different sports. Sex in sports and entertainment, I don't think it's going anywhere, but we can discuss it because maybe then it'll reach the right person. Until next time, my friends, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for listening to Who's to Blame, the podcast. I'm your boy, Dre Montez, and we are, what they say, we are out of here. All righty, good people. Until next time, I'll holler at you, and peace.